gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to another Doctor Who ranking. This time it's the top 5 Ninth Doctor stories. So basically the top 5 stories from Series 1, pretty much. And like I said, it's going to be stories, so 2 parts is accounting as one story. So if you've seen my Series 1 ranking, you'll know what I think of all those stories. So if you've seen my Series 1 ranking, you'll probably know these stories anyway, but I'm going to recap them for this ranking for completion-wise. Before we do that, here are my dishonourable and honourable mentions. So basically 10th and 6th of the Series 1 ranking. Dishonourable mentions first from... These are all these stories are Season 27, or Series 1. So from Season 27 / Series 1, my dishonourable mention is Boomtown. The reason basically being that I don't think the script is that good, although there are some very good individual moments. I'm gonna try not to speak too long about each of these stories because I already talked quite a bit about them in my Series 1 ranking and in their individual reviews. But suffice to say, I think Boomtown's probably got the weakest script of Series 1 and probably the weakest script prior to Fear Her. So pretty much most of Series 2 is, script-wise, is stronger. Sorry, Love and Monsters haters. Even New Earth, which I recently rewatched, I actually think that one is slightly better as a story, because I think there is a story there, whilst Boomtown, it sort of struggles with it. That being said, it is a entertaining filler story that does explore the consequences of the Doctor's actions of a previous story. Though I think the following story, which features on the list, does that a bit better. Does show the Doctor's consequences from a previous story a bit better and in a little bit more detail. A little bit to set up the world or universe they're existing in. As for my honourable mention, well, I've got one Russell T Davies story on my top 5 list, but I think the rest are by the other writers. So my honourable mention goes to Russell's next best episode of the series, Rose, from Season 27. Like I said, a great way to open the new series and a great way to open the revival era of the show. But I don't think it's a spectacular episode, apart from the visuals, but I think it's a brilliant way to start the series. And like I said, I'd probably say the same about Unearthly Child, or at least episode 1 of Unearthly Child at the very least. Okay, moving on to the ranking itself. So, number 5. Number 5, written by Mark Gatiss, is The Unquiet Dead, from Season 27. Yeah, like I said, all of these are going to be Season 27, but I'm going to keep saying from Season 27, or from Series 1, not Season 1, don't be an idiot, from Series 1 to just uniform it a bit. Okay, so Unquiet Dead, great gothic horror, historical story with Charles Dickens. Simon Callow is a great supporting cast member. I mean, we've got some amazing supporting cast. Noel Clarke, Camille Dodori as recurring characters, and Mickey and Jackie. Penelope Wilton in the Slitheen 2-parter. It's Richard Wilton. That was who I was trying to remember. Remember the name of the guy who goes on to play Gaius in Merlin in the Empty Child Doctor Dante's 2-parter. It's the guy I said in my Series 1 ranking. I couldn't remember the name. I kept calling him Richard Whittington, Dick Whittington from the Dick Whittington stories for some reason. And of course Annette Bening, Margaret the Slitheen from Boomtown as a Slitheen 2-parter, and probably also Linda Moss from the last 2 stories. But Simon Callow and Simon Pegg from The Long Game are probably my favourite supporting actors in this series, along with Annette Bening from the Slitheen stories. Probably getting her name wrong, but yeah, Simon Callow does a fantastic job as Charles Dickens, and also Eve Miles does a great job as Gwyneth, and just a really well-written story. Mark Gatiss is also off, like Stephen Moffat later on this series, Mark Gatiss is off to a great start in his new series, Doctor Who, writing career. And I think this is definitely one of his strongest stories, possibly even the strongest story he's written for the show. No, The Crimson Horror is, in Series 7. Anyway, so moving on to number 4. Right, oh, by the way, there's only one non-Russell writer who's not coming back after writing his story for the new series anyway. Anyway, so number 4 is Paul Cornell's Father's Day from Season 27. which is basically, in my opinion, the Vincent and the Doctor / Rosa of Series 1. The reason I say it's the Vincent and the Doctor or the Rosa of Series 1, and I explained this in the Series 1 ranking, is because it's the one that pulls at the heartstrings the most in terms of a character, emotional character story, and I think it works really well. This time it's a more personal one than visiting a historical figure being terrorized by an alien creature / racist greaser from the future. Though we do have aliens in this story, but the focus is on the relationship between Rose and her father, and how her actions of changing time cause consequences for pretty much everybody else. Thankfully, Pete Tyler is a great character to we like him, as so when he realizes he does have to die, he has to sacrifice himself and put history back on track. It does, not only does it put it on our heartstrings to know this is the father of a character we've been coming to know, and maybe or maybe not like, but depending on who you are, the character we've been coming to get to know throughout the series, and he's such a great character, but also because he's a great character and he's such a nice guy. So it really does hurt. It really does hurt when he has to run in front of that car to save everyone else. So I respect that character. On the plus side, we see his parallel universe self in Series 2, so that's always a good thing. Anyway, so moving on. Number 3, written by Stephen Moffat, and yeah, I can see why this has become one of his most popular stories, especially pre-showrunner days. The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. From season 27. Yeah, this is a really great, interesting episode. I think the creep value has gone down a little bit for me, but certainly back at the time, it would have been a pretty creepy episode, especially for those who've never seen it before, which pretty much would have been the broadcast date, or whenever you'd seen it. Or whenever you'd first seen it, like me back in September of 2006, I think. It also introduces Captain Jack Harkness, as I've mentioned a few times, probably one of the best companions of all time. And just another great story, and also another one that's got an emotional pull to the centre, at least by the end, when you've been getting to know these supporting characters. It actually does kind of, that makes a lot of sense, and you can feel something for them. This is how you write good characters, Moffat, unlike some of your later work. But in short, Empty Child and Doctor Dances, great story. Believe the hype, basically. I mean, I'd probably, believe the hype. Number 2. Number 2 is also a very popular story from this series. My friend Matt would definitely consider this story his favourite of the series. It's written by one of his favourite writers of Doctor Who, full stop, Robert Shearman. So this is based on his Audio Jubilee. Well, inspired by his Audio Jubilee. We come to Dalek from season 27. Yeah, this is a fantastic way to reignite the Daleks back into the show after 27 years? 17 years. After 17 years, even longer than the show itself, they've been off the air, the Daleks have. It's also, not only that, but it also fixes the Daleks' reputation that has been around since Destiny of the Daleks, or at least the mid-70s. Or from the mid-70s or something. I mean, Dalek reputation in the 70s was kind of winding. Destiny of the Daleks killed it. 80s Dalek stories tried to fix it. Came close, but I don't think they succeeded. 2005, the Daleks are back in full force. And yeah, and their reputation's never been stronger. And the story was an absolute cracker. It's amazing and just absolutely beautiful. And Christopher Eccleston's best performance before the series finale, plus Nicholas Briggs. I mean, who else can do the Daleks better than him? Literally, there is no one can do them better than him. Everyone else is below. He is above everybody else when it comes to Dalek voices. I mean, you've got some very good Dalek voices out there, both officially and by fans. But I'm not counting myself, by the way. I mean, ones like Benji Clifford, for example. But Nick Briggs is the best. And he will probably always be the best, unless someone can somehow be better than him. Oh. And by the way, the worst ones were by Jeffrey Sachs for the TV movie. They sound nothing like Daleks. Moving on to number 1. Number 1 is my personal favourite new series story after The Day of the Doctor at the moment. And my 4th favourite story of all time at the moment after Day of the Doctor, Remembrance of the Daleks. And I think 5 Doctors. That might swap with that one by the time it comes to that ranking, maybe. But at the moment, it's currently 4th. And it is, of course, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways from season 27. The best series finale ever, and I'm not exaggerating there. It is the best series finale. It's also the best regeneration story, besides the Doctor because of the War Doctor's regeneration, but best incumbent incarnations regeneration story. Then it's this one, and it's absolutely amazing. Every character gets a great shining moment. Yeah, there are some bits that aren't so great in the middles of episodes 12 and a bit of middle of episode 13, but you know what? Besides those little bits, go to my review to find out what I mean. Go to my review to find out what I'm talking about, because I don't want to mention them here. But besides those, outstanding stories, executed masterfully, and the script is just well polished. And I don't know if I was ready to say goodbye to Christopher Eccleston, but the way they handled his exit was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And you know what? So was David Tennant's entrance. So, yeah, they even got that bit right. Perfectly done. So, on the whole, Bad Wolf and the Parting Ways. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Well, I should say fantastic, shouldn't I? Well, outstanding's better. Anyway, that's it from me. Just to recap the list. Number 5 is The Unquiet Dead. Number 4 is Father's Day. Number 3 is The Empty Child, The Doctor Dances. Number 2 is Dalek. And number 1 is Bad Wolf and the Parting Ways. And they are all from Season 27, aka Series 1. I'm just going to say Season 27, Season 28, etc. from now on, just to keep it for these top 5s, top 10s, Doctor Stories / Moments rankings, just so it remains a bit more easier. And it might also go the same for the... and the same for the decade stories. It will be season something, so season 27, 28. When I say that, you know I'm talking about series 1, series 2, etc. Seasons 27 to 38 are series 1 to 12, basically. Anyway, so that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for the start of the 10th Doctor's era. First with the Children Need Special Born Again, 2005 Children Need Special Born Again, and then with the Christmas Invasion, the 10th Doctor's first proper story. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my top 5 Doctor Who 9th Doctor stories. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my top 5. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, although I think the next story which will feature on this list is, though I think the next story after this one, as for the honourable mention, this is probably Russell's best story after, as the one that's going to be on this list. That's going to go back to Rose. I'm just going to keep saying from season 27 or series 1 to make it sound, just make it, just to uniform it. But I think, and it's a really great story. And just a really entertaining... No, the Crimson Horror. Crimson Horror is my favourite of his. Well... basically... / racist greaser from the future. This time, we do have aliens in this this story. But but I'm looking forward to seeing him back at his Parallel Universe self in Series 2, though. So that... Who's playing outside? Someone's doing something else. Maybe. And just a really great story, just really great and all that well, and just a great story. And another one that And my friend Matt would, of course, probably consider this his favourite story of the show. And my fourth favourite story of all time, I think the fourth or third, and my third or fourth. But besides those, great story. Anyway, so to recap the list, from season 24, Father's Day, for the Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, for Dalek, for Battle for the Pathways, unless they all had their own ones.